Hey, welcome back to Hetty Making a Mistake. That's just the subtitle of the game now. So Vivian and I were talking about this when we were going grocery shopping earlier today. I wanted to know, like, do we think there's actually a body buried in Catherine's grave, and does it matter? Because, like, the point of view I put forward was that this could just be another gambit, right? By saying, look, there's a shovel over there. It's going to be gruesome, but if you really felt like it, you could dig it up and look for yourself. Eustace is kind of helpfully implying that there is indeed a body there, while seriously removing any willingness Hetty would have to go through with it. So she gets to kind of cash in on the argumentative force of, like, look, there's a fucking body present, without actually having to prove it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, is that true, or are we looking into that too much? And secondly, even if there was a body there, would that help Hedwig?
Yeah, Hedwig wouldn't know if it's the correct body.
Right? Assuming it's something that looks vaguely like what she imagines Catherine to look like. Like, would that even make a difference? I think the only thing that would be very strange is if it was a body that would definitely not look like Catherine's.
Mm.
And given that she's never seen Catherine in person, that would be difficult at best to attempt. But I don't know, that was on my mind. Anyway, snowball fight?
Snowball fight.
I tried my best to have fun. Everyone was in a rather jolly mood. Even Angela had been invited and seemed grateful to be a part of the festivities. Darcy had brought a hamper of dry goods from the pantry, and Adela had carried several wineskins in a small sack all the way up the hill.
That sounds like a fun time. But also, Darcy, tell them about the plague.
She said she was going to tell everyone.
She said she was going to tell everyone later, right? She did say later I need to tell everyone something. Okay.
It would ruin the party, though. Party foul.
Eustace left my side to stand with Darcy for a while. The two embraced and were soon seated on the slope of the hill, looking out over the distant village and chatting animatedly.
So everyone over there is dead, Eustace.
What? Wait, what? That feels more important than whatever we're doing right now.
Sister Hedwig, would you care for a drink?
You know what? Why not? She passed me the last wineskin she had been carrying. The rest have been distributed amongst the others. I am afraid I don't have a cup, though.
Nobody does. Just take a sip.
There's a sound effect for
the
it.
glug sound.
I put my lips to the stopper and did my best to angle the container to get the liquid pouring, but I let it flow much too fast. I soon had wine running out the sides of my mouth.
Slow down. Save some for everybody.
She laughed and brushed the sides of my mouth with her thumbs.
Unless you would like someone to lap it off you. Ouch! Revenge is sweeter than any wine.
Okay, so even Angela can kind of like loosen up every once in a while. But she's also like, hey, stop flirting with my girl.
That is only fair, I suppose. Indeed. May I have a sip of that wine? Really? Of course. You most certainly can. I apologize. I just don't remember the last time I was any fun. You said it, Sister Angela, not I.
With a sheepish grin, Adela indicated for me to pass the skin to Angela. Angela took a smaller, more practiced swig than I had and then passed the container to Adela.
I don't know what's come over me, truth be told. Perhaps it's the snow.
She looked at me as she said this. I flushed red and turned to glance at some of the others. The younger set were piling snow onto Flora, who was shouting curses and squirming in her wheelbarrow. She's just going to be in a melty pile of water at the end of this. Charity and Marta were taking a stroll through the snow, occasionally looking back toward us and waving at someone or another. Eustace and Darcy had spread out one of their traveling cloaks and were laying down together, chatting away. Margaret and Catherine were standing together. Wait, no, you don't have the squeak. I got so used to doing the squeaky, like the squeaky, scratchy bits of it from doing Anthology of the Killer. I gotta remember not to. So if you heard me kind of like throwing some of that stuff in, that's why. Margaret and Catherine were standing together, taking hefty sips out of a wineskin and speaking in hushed tones. Hedwig does stutter, and she does kind of like repeat herself a little bit, but she doesn't have like the weird breaking stuff that I gave BB. When she saw me looking their way, Margaret smiled weakly. I could only assume they were repairing things after their little spat.
Sister Angela, what a pleasant surprise. Indeed, it has been a while since I imbibed. I think I remember the last time. You read poetry to us in the Misericorde, I think. I will have to take your word for it.
Angela, what poetry do you read, Angela?
This must have been before my time. I would have given anything to see that. Would you ever consider giving a repeat performance? No, I don't think so. Aw, but I remember it being rather good. I think it made me blush.
Oh, that kind of poetry, huh?
Really now.
She reached for the wineskin and yanked it away from Adela somewhat forcefully and took a heartier swig.
Isn't the view lovely?
It's a little dizzying. From here I could see not only the village of Linbarrow, but the road leading away from it into the mist. I wondered how far it was to London or even another country.
You have to not... It's... Well... What's the status of England as a country circa 1490?
Yeah, good question. I forget whether Scotland was indeed under the English crown at that time, so we're going to look that up.
Yeah.
It was hard to fathom a distance after a life like mine. The little thatched buildings down the hill might as well have been a different celestial body to me.
Oh, they can see the village from up here. Interesting, so Darcy's gonna have to say something.
The village looks so dainty from up here, like a little model I could pick up and play with. Like the sort of thing a tactician might place on a board. Certainly.
What does that look mean, Moira?
I remember what Darcy had told me about the village. Had she broken the news to the others yet? I glanced over at her and Eustace looked rather grave. Perhaps Darcy was filling her in now. I decided it was Darcy's business to share with the rest of us and refrained from prompting her. I looked down at the little huts and roads. I hoped, despite how horrible they had been to me, that God would spare them from disease and death. I was in a rather forgiving mood.
You can see my old manse from here.
Catherine and Margaret had wandered over to join our group. Angela tensed up but said nothing. Really?
Yes, the large house nearest to the lake.
It looks massive. That's larger than our chapel, surely.
Oh, it was quite grand, and we were quite rich. To be honest, I'm not sure who owns the place anymore. We had such a large staff maintaining the vineyards.
Vineyards, huh? Interesting.
I met the man once when I first came to the Abbey. Did I ever tell you that? Really? No, you did not.
Oh, right. Okay, sorry, typo. Yep, got it.
What was he like? He was polite. He was proud of the grapes. I am afraid that I cannot recall his name. He was tall, I do remember that. He had a beard, and... I care not. He can burn for all I care. The whole lot can. Easy.
She reached out to her friend as she said this, squeezing her arm gently as she spoke. Catherine smiled and placed her hand on Margaret's in return.
I saw Flora's painting, by the way.
I winced. I could see Margaret squeeze Catherine's arm harder.
Did you now? Indeed. She is a talented young woman, it would seem. I rather like it. I'm surprised. I seem to recall that Italian convent of yours leaving you with an exhaustingly refined sense of taste.
Is Angela trying to at least, maybe not mend things, but at least be amicable towards Catherine? Because that was remarkably less pointed than she usually is. That almost sounded like an actual overture to conversation.
I would never compare Flora to Tura, but she has skill far beyond what any of us could dream of. And Perhaps I was drawn in by the subject matter. Odd, considering it looks nothing like me. How much have you had to drink? Enough to admit that I've been rather standoffish for a long time. That's one way of putting it. Drunk enough to admit fault, that's all well and good. How much more must you drink to apologize? Would you like an apology? I'm not sure we have the time for a proper one. The sun will be setting in what, 4 or 5 hours?
The two stared at each other in the face for a moment. No one said anything. Catherine broke first, however.
Oh, what's the use? I do enjoy a healthy amount of spite, but who has time for grudges? You and I have time for little else. However, I would vastly prefer to be part of this group than apart from it. This is really strange, Angela. What happened to you?
Angela shot me a private glance. It seemed that all it had taken to soften Angela was the knowledge that the world was larger and darker than either of us could possibly know. Yeah, well, from Angela's point of view, yeah, I have knowledge that the world is fucked up in ways that none of us could comprehend. So, I suddenly, these grudges seem very small and petty.
Scotland was still independent at this time, by the way.
Okay.
But not because England hadn't invaded them yet. England first invaded Scotland in 934, and then again in 1296, and then again in 1298,
It's
and
a
then again in
recurring-
1300, and then again in 1301, and then again in 1303.
It's
and
a
then again in
recurring hobby of
1304.
theirs. What can I say?
They just did it constantly nonstop for hundreds of years, and eventually it stuck.
That checks out.
But it didn't stick for sure until 1650 when Oliver Cromwell did it.
Jesus.
And there were multiple rounds of Scottish wars of independence in the meanwhile.
Yeah, I can't imagine why.
Anyway, that's I didn't realize I didn't know that history, and now I'm glad I do know a little bit about it. So Hedwig very much could go to another country if she just went north long enough.
If she just kept walking long enough. And England's small. That could absolutely happen.
Something good. Inquiring minds.
Angela shook her head.
Another day. I think I would prefer to simply enjoy returning into everyone's company for now.
Wait, is this also her tacitly admitting that the reason she was away from the group was because of her beef with Catherine?
Maybe. Have it your way.
These women had some catching up to do, clearly. I excused myself and made my way toward Flora and her friends.
Oh, hello, Hedwig. Hiya.
Ahoy! What are you three chatting about? Nothing.
Flowers? Inferno.
They had clammed up rather awkwardly. Goodness. Quite a range of topics.
Look, it was sort of private, that's all. But listen, I wanted to thank you for your art lessons and stuff.
Oh, don't mention it. We only did it the one time, right? I hardly taught you anything, but I think we drew cats once, and now look at you. I can never paint something quite like you did. Even just finishing the face is very impressive.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I still owe you thanks for giving me the initial push.
That is true, and it's good of Flora not to minimize that. You know, that sometimes the swift kick in the ass really is the difference maker, right?
Well, you asked me to teach.
Hedwig, do me a favor and take the fucking compliment, yeah?
Of course. I apologize. Thank you, Flora. What do you think you'll paint next? Flora gazed out over the hill into the distance. She looked apprehensive.
Good question. Would love to do whole scenes one day. Frescoes, I don't know.
What is a fresco?
It's a big painting on a wall.
Or a ceiling. Oh, what a lovely idea. There's so many big open spaces in the more Romanesque portions of the Abbey that it would look lovely with some art on them. The three friends exchanged awkward looks.
Yeah, anyway.
Oh, are they talking about getting out of here already? Y'all just arrived.
You've got issues, but I guess I do too. I'd probably be just like you if I was twice my age and got stuck in a hole my entire life. So, sorry if I was ever annoying, and thanks for the art stuff.
Why are you tying up all your loose ends like you're about to escape?
Oh, and thanks for saving my life that one time.
I could see Violet and Bridget's expressions turn exasperated the moment I opened my mouth. You are most welcome, Sister Flora. I am proud to have made a difference, and I am sorry for my own misapprehensions about you. I must have made your life miserable for a while.
Yeah, well, like I said, you're a freak, but at the end of the day, I still think more fondly of you than most of the rest of them.
I'm flattered. Flora grinned widely.
Bridget, Violet, would you excuse us for just a moment?
Aye, certainly. Flora looked quite serious.
The Superior's window doesn't lock.
What?
Not saying it again. Explains some things, though, yeah? Anyway.
What?
Oi, Violet, come push me somewhere.
So that's interesting.
That's an interesting thing for Flora to just drop on us out of nowhere.
That's a nice little thank you.
Jesus. Okay.
So that
But
not
wha-
only is that a nice little thank you, Flora thinks that we're lying about letting things lie, like we said we would. It's like here's a little hint for your investigation.
I think Flora might have recognized in that moment that there was no way Hedwig, after all that, was going to press that issue.
Yep.
Right? She wasn't going to press the issue of what attacked Flora at that moment.
What does it explain? So anyone
So-
can get their hand on the soup's keys.
Anyone
for
can
one
get the
thing.
hand on the soup. Well, I mean, the window being open is one thing. Them being able to get in there without the soup noticing is another. Right?
The bedroom is separate.
The bedroom is separate, and she is often busy with Tricky Dick. But so what does that mean? That they're able to get the keys? Okay.
Anyone could free James.
Anyone could have freed James.
Anyone could have got into the sacristy.
That's so unhelpful, Flora. Thank you. You've just made the list of potential suspects all the bigger. Okay.
We also should have expected this, though, right?
I mean, yeah.
Do you remember who told us a story that I think clued us into that being the case, that people could get into the soup's office?
Was it Margaret?
I think it was Flora. I believe in episode 1, Flora told a story that would only make sense if she had got into the soup's office during the ghost story night.
Right.
Don't quote me on that, but I think so.
Right, no, because you're right about seeing the goat, right?
Yeah, from inside the soup's office.
And I guess a detail to take away, she was in the soup's office. That in order to have told that story. Interesting point. Ooh, that's good. How did I miss? That's really good. Good on you. Good detail. Pickup.
Assuming that's real. Again, don't quote me on this. I'm just vaguely remembering that I feel like she told that story.
Flora's friends wheeled her away and leaving me dumbfounded. I turned to find somewhere else in the crowd to stand and passed Darcy and Eustace on the way. I did not want to interrupt them, but as I passed, Darcy held her hand out to graze mine. So many warm gestures were being given. So many relationships were mending. This must be the 11th hour. Was this a miracle? If only I hadn't just immediately given up one of my own, and if only I had just accepted the explanation that was put before me. I noticed Moira waving me back over to the group I had left earlier and obliged her.
Hedwig, have another drink. This one's running a bit low. Wouldn't want to deprive you.
I've been drinking this cider and what
cider and sun tea blend. It's really not as good as I was hoping. Because, like iced tea has that like refreshing quality to it, right? And I was kind of hoping for a bit of that, but it's just kind of like cider, but a bit more watered down with the flavor. None of that really truly refreshing quality comes through in it.
But it also has a kind of unpleasant iced tea notes to me.
Let me check. Yeah, because it's like the iced tea flavor kind of comes in and then just mutes all of the apple,
Yep.
right?
It's a conflicting flavor to me.
Yeah, it's like someone served me like some hard iced tea in a red Solo cup that I had drunk cider out of like 30 minutes ago. It's I don't know. I don't hate it as much as I hated the cider donut one.
That one was good, though.
That one was awful.
That's true, but it was good.
Okay. But yeah. Anyway, that's what you're really all here for, right? Me talking about whatever interesting drink I found this week.
I gratefully took the wineskin she was offering me and took a more practiced sip.
We have been catching up with Sister Angela.
Angela, does it hurt to stand at that angle at all times?
She still refuses to regale us with her poetry, however. All things in time. Take as much time as you need for that particular affectation. I'm not sure I'm quite yet ready to hear you say petals over and over.
Wow! Talking about flowers?
Yes, flowers.
Wow, I sure do love flowers.
What is the point? What is the point of me making jokes?
You wrote poetry about flowers? Moira snickered.
Wrote, read. We used to have quite a poetry circle going in the Misericorde.
Oh, dang. I gotta say, one of the things I've enjoyed about getting older was starting like a creative writing circle with some friends. Like that's just been a wonderful, wonderful experience. And I imagine having a bunch of nuns all sharing poetry with one another, that's gotta be fun. That's gotta be fun.
You gotta get a name for your dojin circle.
It's not a doge. Oh my god, it is. Shit, we have to start. Hold on. We do have a name for it. It's the name of the group chat.
Yeah, but not everybody in the group chat writes. I'm there and I can't write for shit.
True, but I changed the name to reflect that.
Didn't you ask Darcy to help you write a letter to Gwerful once?
Who the hell is Gwerful?
Indeed.
Who's Gwerful?
I don't know.
I had no idea who Gwerful was, but from the tenor of the exchange I intuited that this was intended as a teasing remark. The kind Angela might react poorly to.
See how she's standing like that, kind of at an angle at all times?
Yeah.
That's gotta...
To my surprise, however, she seemed unbothered.
Perhaps I've been too harsh about the poetry. I would love to plop Hedwig down for some readings and see how long she could stand it.
What? Is this a bit like the joke Charity told in the Misericorde? I put together why that was funny. Eventually. I'll have you know.
Oh, good. Do explain.
It was the one about taking the road less traveled, yes? Referring to intercourse between a man and a woman?
Good lord, she is clever. Continue, Sister Hedwig.
Well, the road less traveled down there would be, you know.
The bumhole, yeah.
Yes. I know that the initial punchline has to do with pregnancy, but also it follows that the joke is also about the woman's husband being bad at sexual relations. Because having something put up that hole is, well, rather unpleasant.
Is it? You're very close, Hedwig. Yes.
What am I missing?
Oh, nothing at all. Oi,
We were interrupted by a shout from afar.
who wants to go sledging? Oh, that does sound fun.
Flora, as much as fun as that would be, you can't stop or brace yourself.
She's got one leg that's not broken.
That sounds a bit dangerous, what with your leg?
I'll be careful. Please.
The whole congregation merged together in something of a circle.
I think sledging is fun.
Well, yes, but...
Some sort of team activity might be enjoyable.
Yeah, this definitely is like the nice, big, happy reconciliation scene right before everything goes to shit, right?
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
We're all feeling it? Okay.
We could always race. Yes, or we could play rounders.
Sledging is preferable to rounders if that is the choice. Is Rounders like proto-baseball?
What is Rounders? I forget.
I feel like it's proto-baseball, but I could be wrong about that.
It is a baseball-like game.
Mm-hmm.
Dating back to quite some time ago.
That makes sense. So probably something that like eventually somehow turned into like cricket or in baseball. Something that was derived of some bat sports, right? It's a bat sport, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, okay, I did know a thing about Rounders.
How do you... What's the bat look like? I gotta know.
Well, the bat, it's small and furry, which is unusual. You wouldn't think so. Kind of black, and it's got 2 wings, right? And it kind of screech at you so it can see. If you hear it screech at you, it's not angry. It just want to see you. And I think that's adorable.
Yep, it is. It is indeed what baseball came out of.
Thought so. Thank you, Wikipedia. I assume? Okay.
Do we have sleds? I do not believe so.
Could take apart Flora's wheelbarrow and use the sides of it.
I seem to recall that in the past we used old bits of furniture.
We're rather light on spare furniture at the moment.
Sorry about that. Maybe Rounders would be easier to get going. We've got a ball somewhere and we just need to find a nice thick stick.
What about cask lids?
Huh?
For sledging. We have loads of spare barrels in the cellar, surely.
Great idea.
Bit small though, innit?
Only one person could ride at a time, but we have plenty of them. We could do races. Even have teams, I reckon.
I am more partial to Rounders, thinking on it. The hills are all rather steep. What, scared?
Adela activated.
No, I would just prefer something more sporting. It doesn't get much more sporting than racing.
Well then, how about a vote? How many of you think you should go nick some lids and go sledging? Eustace, Darcy, Flora, Bridget, Violet, Catherine, and Margaret all raised their hands. Oh, crumbs. Well, just for the sake of knowing who'd prefer Rounders. Adela, Margaret, Moira, and Catherine all raised their hands. You can't. I guess you could. Hang on, you 2 already voted.
I'd be happy to do either. Likewise, I didn't realize we could only vote for one or the other. Angela and Marta haven't voted. Or Hedwig. Or you, for that matter, Charity.
I think I'll be sitting out and watching either way. Thank you very much.
As will I. I suppose out of those 2 activities, Rounders would be more appealing. I'd rather not wind up in a wheelbarrow as well.
How about you, Hedwig?
What is Rounders exactly?
It's...
If she doesn't know what it is, we really should just go get sleds. Teaching someone a whole new game will take a while. Plus, it would make the teams unbalanced, right?
Yes. If it's complicated, I'd rather not spoil the fun. I vote sledging.
I'll change my vote in that case. Very well, I am, as always, gracious in defeat.
That's funny, Adela.
Would one or 2 of you like to accompany me to the cellars to collect some lids? Sure. Of course.
The 3 of them set off. The rest of us dispersed again, dividing into small groups, sharing wine and grazing on the treats Darcy had brought from the pantry. Angela sidled up to me after collecting some dried fruit, and we stepped away to chat privately.
Do you suspect anyone has an inkling?
An inkling of what?
You know.
Oh. They all told you they knew. Hedwig. What does lying get you at this point?
Wait, knew what? What are we talking about?
Oh, wait, hold on. I thought maybe an inkling of their investigation, but an inkling of them fucking?
I don't think so.
Interesting. I was wondering if Catherine had perhaps detected something.
Certainly not to my knowledge.
I wonder if she will. Perhaps I'll tell her one day.
Why would you do that?
Oh, I don't know. Perhaps I am overwhelmed with relief. It has been a while since I've spoken to anyone here as a friend. I have a desire to share intimate things as I used to. Or perhaps I am drunk.
Very, very possible.
You are very beautiful.
Thank you. I didn't quite know what to make of her attitude. I would have almost preferred to be at the end of her dagger again, as much as I appreciated the compliment. She was being very sweet, but I'm not sure if sweet was what pulled my thread, so to speak. Angela, could you be more mean to me? Would you care to recite some of that poetry for me?
Later, perhaps.
Very well. Would you care to visit my cell later? There is so much time in the day and the night that will be empty for me now.
Empty? You mean...
There's nothing left for us to investigate, right? I told the Superior my theory and I presented all my evidence. We leaned close just to make sure no one would ever hear us. Superior knows about Eustace now. I told her everything I could. Everything that made sense.
And you think it will be enough?
It will have to be. The bishop seemed pleased with my work for what it's worth. Preparing to leave soon, I saw him packing.
Eustace doesn't suspect anything.
Not a thing. In fact, do you think she successfully bullied me out of investigating her? She made a big show of it last night.
And you're playing along?
Clever.
Clever girl.
Yes.
In that case, it sounds like we will have much to celebrate soon. And I should very much like to spend more time with you in that cell.
One other thing I think we should talk about. What if Eustace is right? In that, as far as Eustace knows, it actually was James. As far as she knows. Maybe there is something else going on that she's not privy to. And while there is indeed an in-group, Hedwig is looking at the wrong thing in terms of actually solving this murder. Like, there is indeed an in-group surrounding Catherine, and they didn't have anything to do with why she died.
So, did we already advance this theory last time, or did I talk about it after we finished?
I think you might have talked about it after we finished.
Okay. Yeah, because that's what I was figuring. I don't think Eustace is lying. I just also don't think she's correct.
Yeah. Because it's like, the thing is, Hedwig was primed to look in to find an in-group, and she found one. Confirming her bias, and making it more likely that she'd kind of narrow in on that answer. But the fact of the matter is, that in-group didn't seem to have anything to do with murdering Catherine. They seemed to be in her thrall. It seemed like they were kind of on a train they couldn't stop, you know what I mean? And that, in some weird way, Eustace felt a relief at the end of it, because the decision stopping it was taking out of her hands.
Mm-hmm.
So, Hedwig has successfully uncovered an in-group. She's contorted all of the evidence she has to point towards one person in that in-group, while not actually being able to correctly finger who murdered Catherine. What if she has been fingering whoever murdered Catherine, and that becomes really funny? What if that becomes really funny?
You learned so much in there all alone, but there's still more you could learn with some company.
I mean, I could be kept in there until I became an expert. Oh man, the audio balance in this episode is going to be terrible. I do not envy me having to edit this.
Angela coughed, choking slightly on the piece of fruit she was chewing on. Are you well?
Just went down the wrong way.
Hey, yo. High five me? We've all gone down the wrong way. I'm trying. She pounded her fist into her chest and coughed again before clearing her throat. After regaining her composure, she reached out to grab my wrists, pulled me close, bringing her knee between my legs. I exhaled sharply and grinned with glee.
I have much to reward you for, but even more to punish you for.
She doesn't look happy doing this bit.
Shall we enumerate your crimes? When you first ran into me outside the chapel, that very first day you were released. These thoughts never crossed my mind. Now, though.
That was more like it. We continued teasing each other in hushed tones for a while until the sisters who had left to collect sleds returned. When they did, the group coalesced once more, awaiting instructions as Moira, Adela, and Margaret handed out the round wooden lids.
Took you long enough. It was quite a walk. I had to use the privy, if you must know. Yeah.
Right then. Should we just climb that little hillock there? She pointed to a defilade behind...
What the fuck is that?
Probably a little hillock.
That's a great word. Hold on.
Defilade is a great word.
Defilade? Hold on. No. I'm looking this up.
Oh!
Okay, no. Here we go. Wikipedia, yeah. A unit or position is in defilade if it uses natural or artificial obstacles to shield or conceal itself from enfilade and hostile fire.
Also, like a little bit down, it's from the 100 Years' War that it started getting used, so it's very period appropriate to use that word at the moment when talking about some sort of obstacle.
Well, there we go. Defilade is also used to refer to a position on the reverse slope of a hill or within a depression in level or rolling terrain. Okay, yeah. Okay. Yeah. A strange use of it that I wasn't ready for, but makes total sense now that we've gone and learned what it meant. And that's how you know we're good at our damn jobs. We look up the words. We look up the words we don't know. And so should you. It's a learning opportunity.
It sloped down to reach the even patch of ground we had all been resting on. I felt a sense of relief. I'd imagined we would be sliding down the steep mountain down toward the village.
That's nothing.
It's a fine start.
I won't have anyone breaking their necks on my watch, thank you very much. Well, some thrill seekers grumbled, everyone made their way up the smaller hill. Everyone except Marta, who stood at the bottom, looking content to just lean on her walking stick.
Have you ever done this, Hedwig?
Perhaps once, but I would have been a very small child. Ooh, Marta and I will keep score.
I'll declare the winners from down the hill. Don't blink. Very funny. Don't fall.
Catherine looked oddly nostalgic. Right, who first?
Me against Hedwig, motherfucker. We're settling this. It's either this or fisticuffs, Hedwig.
She pulled me forward. 2 barrel lids were waiting for us at the lip of the hillock. Eustace knelt down on the one in front of her.
Like this.
I did my best to copy Eustace's pose on my own sled. 3, 2. I began to slide forward. I thought I nestled myself onto the lid appropriately, but must have shifted my weight incorrectly. The makeshift sled carried me forward for a yard or so before I lost my balance completely and tumbled head over heels. After a few moments of disorienting, painful rolling, I came to a stop. My legs were sticking straight up in the air, my neck was awkwardly cramped forward. I feel that my robes had lidden up my legs, and I dared not look and see just how far. I scrambled to right myself a cover up as Eustace slid gracefully down the hill next to me.
I have to count that as Eustace's win, I'm afraid.
That's fair.
How cold is your bum?
Incredibly. Margaret jeered playfully from up the hill. I did my best to wave it off as I clambered back up to get back in line for another go. Somewhat relieved to discover that falling off the sled was not an uncommon occurrence. I watched Angela roll down the hill looking most undignified.
That was so good.
That was so good. Moira leaned too far forward and got a face full of snow. Even Eustace, who had bested me so effortlessly before, managed to lose control
spectacles.
once.
I have to imagine that's just for the fun of the Calvin and Hobbes moment here, and that in reality she would probably have either taken those off or But this is a Calvin and Hobbes moment. Wait, that's what this is. Wait, that's totally what isn't it? Doesn't this feel like one of those it has the same kind of energy of Calvin and Hobbes rolling on the wagon or riding on the toboggan down the seemingly national park-sized forest in their backyard.
This can't be a Calvin and Hobbes moment. It's far too early for the Reformation.
But you know what I mean, right?
Yes.
Marta picked her glasses up with the end of her stick, offering them to a white-flecked Eustace, who grinned sheepishly as everyone hooted at her.
Oh, no, never mind. She did just let him fall off.
I tried twice more. On the first go-round, I fell off again, although this time I had the good sense to roll on my side the rest of the way down. On my third attempt, I managed to smoothly pilot the lid all the way to the bottom, although I was easily bested in the race by Adela.
A valiant effort, Sister Hedwig.
She pulled me into a sudden embrace and tousled the top of my hood as soon as I stood up. Ah! Everyone soon grew tired, myself included. I was surprised at how taxing the whole affair was. Only the youngest were still at it when the rest of us decided it was time to return to wine and snacks. Flora, Bridget, and Violet continued to race each other up and down the hillock, while the others older sat down in small groups again.
Hedwig, care to join me further afield?
Certainly, Adela.
God, is it weird that I want this pairing to work out? Because it seems like Adela would be a good influence. She's very respectful of other people and their boundaries and has a good head about her and isn't currently embroiled in some weird kind of conspiracy nonsense.
We collected a wineskin and a handful of fruits and nuts each. As the others did the same, Adela pulled me by the hand out of the crowd and dragged me toward a more secluded area behind some trees, away from the edge of the hill. We settled down, Adela looking pleased as anything to get a moment alone with me. We could hear distant voices, but for all intents and purposes, we were alone. I could turn my head to see small shapes in the distance. Darcy and Eustace sitting together once more, Charity and Marta standing and chatting, a blob of black that appeared to be the rest of the nuns catching up with Angela. Further away, the sounds of the young ones sledging continued, laughing and shouting.
What a beautiful evening.
I agree. If only I hadn't done something to ruin all this wonderful peace just a few hours from now. I much prefer this to the Misericorde, I should think.
Is that because it's outside?
What do you mean?
Well, you know. You seem to have a passion for the outdoors.
Huh.
I am not judging you. I respect it. In fact, I might even share your tastes.
Oh?
It was rather hot where I used to live. I spent a lot of time dressed less appropriately than what was expected of me.
She put her hand on my knee and smiled wryly. I smiled back, unsure of what to say.
Would you indulge me?
The lesbian quality of it all no longer bothered me.
Line of the game!
Wow. That's just... I say this often, but truly, frame that one. Screen cap it, frame it, just gaze on it admirably every few hours.
Perhaps it should have. I thought back to all the brushes with the women here I had allowed while feigning interest. Darcy's kiss had rattled me once upon a time, and that felt so long ago now. I had started looking at everyone's faces differently and their bodies differently. I wonder what their breasts looked like. How the fat on their stomachs rolled. How their thighs must deform in different seated positions. How they might keep the hair under their hoods and beneath their skirts. See, and that's how you know she's really into it. Thinking about the way that people's fat rolls as they kind of sit and crunch over, and that's a deep dedication to the art right there. That's a deep... Hedwig, you truly are a connoisseur. In between my escapades, I'd begun to search through scripture for some idea of what to do, or at the very least, what rules I was breaking.
You know what? Not a bad idea. Thou shalt not weigh with a woman, and if thou does, thou shalt definitely not use 2 fingers.
Okay. Noted. I felt a dark curiosity. Even now, I could think about this and feel a sick sense of pleasure. It felt like a stroke of luck that the Bible itself says nothing about carnal relationships between women. It doesn't consider that a possibility at all. And I think that is because it shouldn't be a possibility. It is new, unthinkable territory that lesser beings have dredged out of dark depths. Women are the lesser workmen, as Aquinas said. And yet, here I was. I was pretending no longer. With an absence of material to prepare for the skilled man, these women had invented a new way to pass the time. It was alien, and something felt sinful about it, even if I could not identify what laws were being trespassed. And my suspicions would bear out, but in that moment, all I could say was, perhaps. I drummed my fingers against my thighs. Adela wasted no time gliding forward elegantly and pressing her lips against mine. Woo! Get you a good woman, Hedwig. My breath halted, and I think I made another ghastly sound in my throat.
You know, assuming Adela isn't involved with why Catherine died, she would probably have made a much more level-headed partner in crime.
Yeah.
For one, she'd definitely be in on the game of it all, but on the other hand, she definitely would be like, Sister Hedwig, you should know that you cannot just go around assuming people don't live lives when you're not looking at them. That's what we call the tether cat principle.
My breath halted, and
I read that one, didn't I?
Yep.
Adela's hand clasped the back of my head, daring me to break apart. She was not going to be my first, but nonetheless, I felt the exciting rush that came with stepping into the unknown. This rendezvous was under no false pretenses. Angela and I's frustrations with the investigation had forced us together, and my dalliance with Catherine started under the pretense of spying on her, but now I was free to pursue and be pursued by whomever I liked. Wherever I liked as well. She pressed forward and firmly planted her hands on my shoulders to command me to the ground. The back of my head collided with the earth, and I was briefly reminded of the crack on the head I had suffered while rescuing Flora. These dark feelings intermingled with the pleasant surprise of another kiss, even if it still made me close my eyes involuntarily. She pulled away from the kiss and juked backward, taking the hem of my robe in both her hands and hiking it up around my waist with the skill and confidence of a trained artisan. I still said nothing. I was too taken with the sensations of hot and cold touching each of my exposed thighs. The cold air made me jolt my hips upward, and Adela laughed. My thighs clamped back together instinctively as I yelped. With a laugh, she shushed me. I held my hands over my mouth as she yanked my legs apart again and dove between them. It was dizzying, it was overwhelming, and it was everything I had ever wanted.
Oh, really, Adela? All right.
I would have lived happily in that moment forever, until it was time to meet the next sister to share the next moment. Over and over for eternity, awash in pleasure.
What is happening over here?
Ah!
Is that a trick question, Sister Angela?
I'm not sure why, but after an initial jolt of embarrassment, I relaxed. Part of me assumed perhaps that Angela might be excited to find me in this compromising position. This is how we lived here, was it not? I laid there, splayed open and breathing heavily. I grinned at Angela sheepishly, salacious thoughts racing through my mind on their way to my doppelganger. Would she approve? Perhaps she'd like to join in. We could call even more people over for all I cared.
It turns out Adela shares my taste for fresh air.
What is wrong with you, the both of you? I was just winning the bet.
Really, Adela? You seemed really sweet. She had been trying to stand up, a wide grin on her face, but Angela put her foot down on her chest to keep her pinned to the ground.
You have won nothing, Andalusian slut.
Whoa!
Do you hear this woman, Hedwig? She just wanted to win a game. That's all you were to her. How could you fall for her charms?
I fell for nothing. I don't understand what the problem is.
The problem is that they don't love you the way I could.
I was kind of wondering if this is where we were headed with Angela here. She's like, oh. she's got a possessive streak on her, right?
Yandere girlfriend Angela.
Yandere girlfriend Angela. Except she also gets to work to repair her relationship with Catherine, right? But heaven forbid okay, it's not the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? No, I talked myself out of it. But still.
The problem is that to them you are nothing but a quim and a tongue. I should have known you would not last a day after making up with everyone.
She struggled again against Angela's shoe for a moment, finally overpowering her and bolting to her feet. Angela nearly tumbled to the ground, but managed to compose herself. I got to my feet as well, hurt and panicking. It felt as if the gates of heaven were closing shut in front of me.
I was being quite earnest when I made nice earlier. I just didn't expect to find Hedwig spreading her legs for somebody else quite so soon.
But I... Catherine?
You had express permission for that. Somebody else? You mean... That's right, Sister Adela. I spoiled your stupid little game. You are taking that far too seriously, Angela. Hedwig, I promise that it was nothing so crass or cruel as Angela is making it out to be. You all planned this for months. By God, dear departed Catherine was the first to suggest it. We fuck each other, Angela. There was no trickery, no deception. You are mistaking idle gossip for a grand conspiracy.
Yeah, isn't that what I was saying for the longest time about that bit in particular?
It is. I am mistaking nothing. And even if we are to judge by your rules, I won. Not by lying to her or trying to trap her. Hedwig and I share something that comes from within.
I feel like a lot of talking is being done on my behalf right now.
Like, I don't think either side of this conversation is really in the right. Like, on the one hand, it is still kind of weird. It is still kind of fucked up to have a betting pool over who's going to get to fuck the new girl first.
And especially that was the excuse she went for first when Angela caught her.
Yep.
That is what she reached for first.
And Angela's stance here is also kind of fucked up. Like,
But that also said, like, Adela did also respect Hedwig's boundaries when she said, please don't.
Mm-hmm.
And like, had also been, like, took the time to chat, to actually explain her views on that kind of sexuality to Hedwig, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't strike me as someone who wants to just win a bet. That strikes me as someone who really kind of wants Hedwig to understand and maybe, like, wants her to understand because she wants to be with her.
And it doesn't make it less fucked up that it's a bet, too.
Yeah, that's true. And it also doesn't make it less fucked up that Angela is saying, no, but our love is pure and ineffable and
Yep.
kind of...
I'm pretty sure there was a lot of effing, Angela.
It happened naturally. You are a complete madwoman. You are wholly animated by lust, and I shall deal with you in time. But for now, know this. I care about Sister Hedwig's well-being.
Why are so many people arguing over me?
We all care about each other, Angela. Oh, come now.
Please.
This is exactly what happened between you and Catherine, is it not? You called it.
I told you. What did I fucking say from Volume 1? Jilted lovers.
You called it.
Jilted exes, baby, and I knew it. It wasn't just the Yuri glasses. I was right. Give me a high five. Oh, that was off. That was off. There we go.
It's the angle. That's not the correct angle.
Yeah, this is not a good angle for high
five. We can't get a good high five going like that.
Ha ha ha! Score one!
Irrelevant. Don't you dare bring her up again. By God, I thought I could finally put all this unpleasantness behind me.
I mean, you had until you came in and acted like everyone should play by your rules. You could have put all this unpleasantness behind you until you came in and demanded that Hedwig use her body in a way that you approve of.
But I see now that trying to live and learn is a waste of time and effort. I should...
Stop it! The pair of them turned to look at me in surprise. I don't want to be fought over. You say that they have been treating me like a piece of meat, Angela, but this is the first time I've ever truly felt that way.
You don't feel betrayed? You don't feel sickened by these women and their nasty little game?
I don't care. Perhaps I felt uneasy about it before, but after laying with you, I thought I could get used to this. If this is what life has to offer, then I will gladly accept it. It's just how friendship works here.
Friendship. That satisfies you?
Of course it does. Why would it not?
So Angela is like, wait, we're not something more than just friends?
Yep.
I could hear a commotion brewing in the distance as Angela looked deep into my eyes, clearly wounded by something I had said. Had the others overheard us?
Whore.
Angela bellowed that at the top of her lungs, tears flying out of her eyes as she spun around and stormed away. Adele approached me, her arms open to embrace me in apology, but I pushed past her. She chased after me as I hastily tried to reach Angela. Angela, however, had broken into a sprint. Something had happened up ahead and I could hear panicked voices and screams. We all caught up to the others at the edge of the hill. Moira was beside herself and Charity was wailing at the top of her lungs as Marta attempted to comfort her. Flora! Finally, I saw what everyone was looking at so helplessly. A deep divot in the snow ran down the sharp slope of the hill. In the distance, I could just barely make out a shape moving toward the village at a sickening speed. Oh, God!
What happened? They just marched right up to the hill and went.
They did this on purpose? Well, yeah. I mean, again, I know they're a little older, but like they're still like compared to everyone else here, they're children. Kids are gonna look for the steepest slope they can find. I remember like when I was younger, we would go to our local post office because they had a great sledding hill there. And once you got to a certain age, none of the kids were satisfied that, and they had to go further deep into the woods where there was a slightly steeper hill that didn't have a clear path to go down, so it was really hard, but it was steeper, so therefore it was better.
This just reminded me of the last time, I think was the last time in my life that I went sledding. I don't think I've been sledding since.
Wow!
Which is surprising. This would have been, I think, at the very end of middle school.
Yeah.
And my best friend was living somewhere that had a forest out back with a really good, like, hill and stuff. But it was a forest and so on.
Yeah.
And we and the friends had kind of gradually been sledding in one area repeatedly, which was near the trees, but not quite at it, and had been, like, making a track. Which made it more and more like, oh, good, it'll go the right way. We won't hit the trees, but also made it faster and faster over time due to this track.
Right, because
being a thing.
on the one hand, you're kind of laying the groundwork to make sure that path's not going to have like rocks and shit in it because you're constantly going over it, right? So but also you're then making it so it's going to just become like faster and like shoom.
Long story short, after one day when it iced over, it ended with the sled taking a jump straight out of the track into the forest and severe genital injury.
Ooh, that's some of that classic slapstick stuff right there.
Exactly, slapstick cartoon, hitting a tree in midair, both arms and both legs sprawled out either side of it.
Get the Foley artists on that one.
Soul visibly leaving the body.
Oh, man.
Good times.
Good times had by all. All right.
Perhaps they'll be all right.
We have to do something.
There's nothing we can do until they stop. The small shapes disappeared into the distance. Was it just Flora or was it all three of them?
It's going to be so funny when the dramatic event at the end of chapter 3 is Flora breaks her other leg.
Well, okay, so why are we? They're headed toward the village, right?
Yeah.
Has Darcy told everyone? No, she hasn't. Fucking hell, Darcy.
We all held our breath. There wasn't a sound until finally we could hear a pained howl from far away.
Did you hear that?
Yep.
Everyone winced. Charity broke down into sobs once again.
We should search for them right away.
It's getting dark. We'd have to double back to get torches first.
It will be hard to even know where to look.
Hopefully we'll be able to hear them. It's a horrible thing to say, but if we can follow screams or wails, we'll at least know they're alive.
That is a horrible thing to say.
But it's... Okay, so this is really interesting to me, because this tells me a lot about Eustace. You and I have this thing, right, where, like, whenever something stressful or upsetting happens, kind of like, our brains kind of tend to go into one of two modes, right? Sometimes it's overwhelming and you just can't do anything for a while because you don't know what to do. And sometimes you're in just, great, on it. My brain is dialed in and I can immediately know what to do in order to start fixing things.
Mm-hmm.
And Eustace, when presented with an emergency, will go into, great, locked in, let's start fixing things. Them wailing is good because we know they're still alive and where they are.
She inhaled deeply, attempting to compose herself. Then, tear-streaked, she began to give orders. Right then. Eustace, Moira, Margaret, Adela, I want you to grab those torches and get a move on down the hill.
Yep, and Charity taking control again.
Yep.
Yep.
Hedwig, Catherine, Angela, Darcy, I want you lot to go to bed and save up your strength. One of you should inform the superior first, I suppose, but I want you all well rested. If the first group can't find them, we'll rotate in shifts. Is everyone clear? Catherine and Angela looked ready to protest, but each thought better of it. Everyone sprang into action wordlessly.
I also like how Charity is sensible enough to be like, no, we're doing this the smart way, right? Don't spend all of our resources all at once.
Yep.
Right? There's only so much making the group larger can accomplish, and if we need to keep this going, we need a second group later on. So all of you need to go the fuck to bed and make sure you're rested.
We all jogged as fast as we could back to the Abbey with grim determination. Adela stayed as far away from Angela as possible. I too attempted to keep some distance from both of them, but that proved difficult. The group naturally spread apart as Charity and Marta moved the slowest. The forward group led by Eustace sprinted ahead to collect the torches. Angela and Dale and I were left together after all, along with Darcy. We passed through the men's camp. Angela hissed in my ear like a serpent.
What about those blackguards? Perhaps we should let them know you'll let anyone bend you over.
Enough, Angela! Once we arrived inside the cloister proper, Angela turned around and spoke imperiously.
I will notify the superior. The rest of you, go to bed. We should talk about this. There is nothing to talk about until Flora is found safe.
There is, though.
We nearly lost her once already. She cannot have gotten far. Expertly observed, with any luck, the others will find her. But I am not willing to take that for granted. Bed. Now.
Well, I mean, thankfully she did leave a trail.
Yeah?
Everyone nodded solemnly. Darcy, you don't want to share the...
Angela... What? Never mind. I can only hope that the morning brings good news. I am certain it will.
We all marched upstairs to the dorms. There was no escaping the air of dread and hostility. Catherine wordlessly walked into her room and slammed the door shut. Darcy was left looking bewildered.
What is going on?
It's nothing, Darcy, a personal matter.
That much I can tell. I am not that thick.
Oh, well, that's not what Angela is upset with me because... Darcy's brow furrowed.
You can tell me.
I don't know what to say. I'm worried about Flora and Bridget and Violet, and I haven't got the slightest idea of how to approach this more personal problem, and...
Is this because I did not tell you what I saw in the village?
What? No. Had I offended Darcy? I couldn't think of anything I'd done.
Because I will tell you if you must know.
I think this is generally Hedwig being like, we have a more pressing problem right now, and I don't know how to, like, focus on that and put aside.
No, Darcy, I really...
They were dancing, Hedwig. Laughing and dancing. And the ones that were not dancing were dead or dying, like the farmer.
How strange. I did not know what else I could say. This was a bewildering revelation, and my mind was elsewhere.
Yes, how strange. Well, is this because I kissed you?
What?
Do you not trust me as much as I trust you because I kissed you on accident?
No, Darcy. I had forgotten all about that.
I see. Is it anything?
If she expected me to say more, I simply couldn't. Stupidly, I reached for an answer beyond no. Anything to get out of this conversation, I thought to myself. A while ago, you said this abbey didn't keep goats, but I found one the other day. A dead one, not far from where I claimed to see one butchered in the hall. Where did it come from? Were you lying?
You became a different person these past few days. Did you know that?
After a moment, she left for her dorm. She closed her door gently. Feeling utterly defeated, I entered my own room. Hedwig! Just say, I had something going on with Angela, and I don't know how to process that right now because I'm trying to focus on Flora. And it really sucks because Darcy really did seem like she trusted Hedwig deeply. I fell into my bed, my mind burning. For 2, perhaps 3 hours, I experienced total bliss. I had chosen a path that made everyone happy, or so I had thought. But it had fallen apart incredibly quickly. Now Flora was missing again, and arrived back where I had started.
Hey, the dancing plague.
I was too hollowed out to cry. I just stared at the ceiling until sleep came.
Hell.
Hell yeah.
Dancing plagues are here again. Zeppelin? No? Instead of dancing days, it's dancing plagues.
I do not know that one, apparently.
In my dream, I had wandered a familiar desert. This time, however, there were no soldiers. There was no one else here. The tents the armies had slept in were all there, but each one I checked was empty. I wandered through the silent camp, oddly compelled to find someone, anyone to notice that I was here. The battlefield was vacant too. I shed my clothes, hoping it might attract attention, but I tried everything I could, desperate for something to happen, but nothing ever did. There was nobody there to chase me or even see me. There's not even a hint of danger. I was alone. It was almost disappointing. I wandered the desert all alone for a while, not seeing a soul. For what felt like hours, the sand gave way beneath my feet, and I plunged into a vast ocean.
I'm liking the weird non-equal temperament harmonies of this music in the background.
Yeah.
It was peaceful beneath the waves. Beautiful even. For a time, at least.
Who's this gonna be?
I don't know who this is. Do you want to be whoever this is until we know?
Sure. What are you doing here? Hedwig? Is that you, Hedwig?
What? What? Sudden art style, what?
Go away. Leave.
Are those the eyes of the portrait of Catherine?
Yep. Go away.
Wow, the sudden color was upsetting as fuck.
I awoke with a start. Not even sleep was safe anymore, it seemed. Was there truly no escape? Would my hungers never be sated again? I was filled with a deep, gnawing, frankly embarrassing need to take a risk. Last night I'd been this close to perfect. A prelude to a comfortable life of idle pleasures. I rolled out of bed, aching to return to that world. I was being selfish, of course. Selfish and sinful, but at that moment I had no such clarity. The truly important matter slowly reemerged in my mind as I dressed myself. Had Flora and her friends been found? I opened my door gingerly. The dormitory hall was quiet. And finally, a door swung open. My heart leapt as I saw Adela emerging from her room. Adela! Were you able to find Flora and the others?
No, we were not.
She spoke quietly with none of the verve I was used to hearing in her voice.
It was a doomed expedition, I believe. The hill is steep and the vegetation is dense. Navigating in the dark was treacherous, and we were risking great injury.
How horrible! Were there any clues at all?
None. Hedwig, do you think they did it on purpose?
What, fell down a hill?
They were rather adamant about wanting to go sledging. And I know Flora had tried to escape Linbarrow before.
I understand Adela's concern here, but I really do think it's just Flora being a teenager. Or, again, not a teenager, but like, she still carries herself with that emotional maturity of one, right?
Then again, you two were like, oh, why are you trying to wrap up all your loose ends, Flora?
I was, but even I don't think Flora would think that sledge down a steep hill is a good way to get out of Dodge. Sledge down a steep hill when you have one leg and traction, right? I don't think Flora thinks that's a good idea. I really do think it was just she was young and wanted to be a little dangerous, and who at that age hadn't made bad decisions past what they really should have. And unfortunately, she chose to do so in the 1400s when the consequences of doing so are much more dire.
I am just trying to make sense of it all.
You don't think they just overextended themselves having fun?
I think they might well have been stupid, but not that stupid. Perhaps there is no use trying to make sense of it.
Interesting. So Adela does consider that, but thinks... Well, I guess here's the other thing, is that we don't have a good idea of what that actually looks like, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're kind of like, I mean, it's a narrative format, and under Adela's estimation, it's not just like, oh, teenagers being stupid. It's like, no, that's stupid in a different way to attempt.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, we can ask them when we find them, right? I presume it's time for the other shift to head out? Can be ready to go as soon as we've eaten. Adela shook her head.
The second shift already left. I suppose they will be back before long, however. The prospects are grim,
Why didn't
Sister
they call
Hedwig.
me? They didn't wake me?
I suppose not.
Why not?
I have no idea, Hedwig. I must apologize, my mind is elsewhere. I do not know what to tell you. Try not to take it personally, I suppose. Surely they just wanted to let you rest.
I couldn't bear the thought of conducting an important search with any of these women at that moment. At least two of them were very angry with me, and I was beginning to wonder if I hadn't offended Catherine somehow as well.
Good morning. I take it the others are still searching. Indeed. That is unfortunate. Weren't you going to go with them, Hedwig? They did not rouse her. Oh. Huh. Maybe they just wanted to travel lighter?
There is all... I'm trying to think of what's the generous argument here. The generous argument is that Hedwig still isn't used to walking around outside of her cell, and the terrain they're covering is difficult.
Yep.
Right? It's not walking a well-worn path up a gently sloping hill. It's treacherous terrain. And I can see maybe an argument being made that one of them was like, listen, Hedwig's not going to be able to handle this, and we don't have time to coddle her if we want to find them. And I can also see that argument being made not out of malice or anything like that, but out of pure pragmatism,
Yeah.
right? So that's I think the most generous interpretation. What other options are on the table here?
I don't know.
They genuinely tried to, and Hedwig slept like a log. They just couldn't get her up.
Or they're just pissed at her.
Yes, but pissed at her doesn't seem to override we're doing important things mode, right? Even Angela was like, no, I get it. We're going to go rest so we can, and I'll inform the superior. We're going to get, even Angela, regardless of being pissed at Hedwig, seemed to be in like, okay, no, this is go time, right? This is do stuff mode. But I don't know. Maybe I'm being too generous. Perhaps. I felt ill.
Everyone else is still asleep? Yes. I could not. I have too much energy. Understandable. Well, should we check in with Soup? Angela took care of that last night. I would prefer not to bother her until we have more concrete news. I understand.
And I think it's that. I understand Adela's motive there, and that's exactly the kind of motive that leads the Soup to feeling like she's never in the loop on anything.
Yep.
Because she only ever hears about stuff once it's done and completed, if at all.
Well, if Darcy is out helping with the search, there's no breakfast to be had. And I doubt Soup will be bothering with morning service. Do you two want to go for a walk? I have nothing better to do, I suppose.
Yes. I suppose a walk would balance the humor somewhat.
Better than nothing.
So those eyes were... I remember one time we saw this background, and I was like, it feels like maybe those are eyes, but also maybe it feels kind of like that's a stretch. But no, after Hedwig's dream from last night, that is so intentional.
Yep.
Ah!
We dragged ourselves outside wordlessly. The men had already gotten to work by the chapel. Aside from the light smattering of snow in the air, this could have been a day like any other.
Another thing against Flora running away, a scream. If she really did want to try to run away, she wouldn't be trying to alert them to her location. Right?
You know what this feels like? I think I know what you were going to say. Yeah.
Like the morning Catherine was found?
Yes. It is hard to disagree. The morning after Samhain.
Nice! Got it in one.
It was not long ago, but it might as well have been years.
I would have taken like 3 tries on that one. Good job.
I don't know if I got it right. I think it's that.
I would have been like going like Sam Hain? Sam Hain?
I'm just like, I know that it's not pronounced the way it's spelled, and I
Yep.
think it's this. So correct me in the comments when I'm horribly wrong.
The days have moved slower without her, haven't they? Like walking through a bog.
I can only imagine. I did not have to imagine. Not really. I knew exactly what they meant.
If Flora really is gone this time, any of them really, I don't know. Perhaps it would be better in the end.
Oh, that's right. It's not just Flora. It's also Bridget and Violet.
Yep.
Sorry. Oh, I apologize. My brain had been just completely forgetting about that part. Right. Bridget and Violet are with her. Weirdly enough, that makes running away more plausible, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. No. I'm coming back around.
Also makes it somewhat less plausible that there wouldn't be shouts for help.
Yep.
Given that there's 3 of them, either all 3 of them were incapacitated to the point where they couldn't shout for help, or they are deliberately not doing so.
Yep. The thing that gets me, though, is that, like, how would they have prepared any materials? Are they just running off, getting to the village and assuming something will work out there? And then they're going to find it's the dancing plague in the village, and...
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's... Because Darcy hasn't told anyone yet?
What do you mean? I don't mean to sound heartless, just you remember how Catherine tried to dream up escape plans for Flora, don't you? Only vaguely. Catherine and Flora were close. It bothered me, I must admit. Flora was enamored with Catherine, clearly. Who wouldn't be? Only it developed into something of an infatuation.
She turned to me suddenly.
Hedwig, you're aware now that this is not a particularly pious place.
Sorry, we just had a new track drop, and I need to...
Doctors and virgins. Okay.
We indulge from time to time.
Adela and I exchanged a glance. I know.
Well, for the longest time, we attempted to hide that from Flora. Much the same as we tried to hide it from you, really. Only for Flora's sake, there was a while where that aspect of our lives seemed totally doomed. With you, it was only a matter of time before you relaxed.
Had I been so predictable? I glanced at Adela again. Perhaps I really had been.
Flora was here before I arrived, and I never felt as if anything was being hidden in this regard. Yeah, well, that was after we gave up. Hiding, sneaking around, no longer saying what we wanted from each other plainly. We all got sick of it. Catherine especially, who developed a bit of mania about it all. She was convinced that not only was it good for us to, but that we had some sort of moral obligation.
That's two different steps there, right? Correct me if I'm wrong on this, but isn't there like science to me yeah, it is good to, get it out once in a while?
Probably. I don't know. I don't know.
You know what?
Bang science.
I shouldn't claim that as fact. I won't claim that as fact. But I would believe it if there was science showing that yeah, it's good for you as a human being to fuck every once in a while. But going from there to moral obligation is certainly a stretch.
A very Catherine move.
That is true. Catherine doesn't seem to be one to do things in half measures. It seems like she has two speeds, uninterested or fully invested to an unhealthy level.
Misericorde. Misericorde of psychiatric medication had been invented.
Oh, God, now I'm going to have to put that meme in there so people know what you're doing. SK, I know you're listening to this. Just go generate that meme real quick. Don't worry, you weren't doing anything else important. You're editing Let's Play videos for YouTube. You have time.
I never got that sense from her. I just thought she was energetic. Oh, it was one of her causes for a while. Catherine had the libido of a rabbit and the conviction of a Hussite. And she used to say Hildegard was wrong about two things, sex and the Jews.
So wait, were the Hussites already current by this time?
I guess if Margaret is making reference to them.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I forgot. I had them fully a century off. So they were... they did their own Reformation and stuff before the Protestant Reformation.
Uh-huh.
It was Jan Hus, a Czech reformer, and it led to massive wars all throughout Bohemia, as one does. Now you know. That one didn't quite stick in the way that the Protestant Reformation would do sometime later.
Weird. Did their Reformation have blackjack? All right, Adela. That's a good question that I was about to look up if you hadn't broached the subject.
What did Hildegard have to say about the Jews?
Also, I was wrong that it didn't stick. I didn't realize that the Hussites were still around when the actual Reformation happened.
Good for them.
Just not in power in the way that they were.
Yeah.
They were around.
Nothing positive.
As someone who has read Hildegard, is that true?
I actually don't know this because I haven't gotten to those parts yet. I'm
see.
sure they would be in there, though.
Okay, well, good to know so you can brace yourself.
Catherine took offense, as odd as that may sound for someone of her occupation. She had Jewish blood in her, you see. She discovered this after digging around in her family history.
That's not possible, surely. The expulsion happened in 1290, and...
Well, Hedwig, Catherine was Irish, so the expulsion wouldn't have touched her family. And again, this was very far back in her family's history, apparently. But nonetheless, she was very proud of it. She lamented not having a connection to something she saw as integral to her own history, and did her best to research what she could.
Huh, okay.
Hard to blame her.
Could she read and write in Hebrew?
Yes. How well I couldn't say, but she made a point of knowing the basics. What did Hildegard say about sex, though?
Also nothing positive.
So Hedwig has read Hildegard is what I'm...
Yep.
Yeah.
And Margaret seems very upset that Hildegard has nothing good to say about it.
So naturally, Flora, being as nosy as she was and the age she was, caught wind of all this. As she got older, I knew she wanted something from Catherine. And for a while, I was terrified Catherine might give it to her. Would that have been so wrong? Yes,
Of course it would have been.
Flora would have been married by now, surely, had she not taken vows.
I hate that Adela has a point there. Cause remember, we're not arguing this from our understanding of it nowadays, right? They're arguing it from the position of people in the 1400s. And in the 1400s, Adela's got a point.
But she did, in fact, take vows.
I promise I am not trying to be combative. No, you're right, in a way. Flora is almost 20. She would likely have married a man Catherine's age and had children by now, but my distaste, I suppose, stemmed more from the fact that Flora felt more like our daughter than our peer.
Right, and maybe what Margaret is having a hard time phrasing is the fact that it seemed like Catherine might have been grooming Flora. Or, in a more generous interpretation, maybe Flora was so enamored with Catherine that she couldn't see maybe why that was not a great idea.
We had watched her grow up. I remember when she was half as tall and much less spotty.
Yeah, that's gotta be weird as fuck.
My fears were unfounded, though. Catherine was simply excited to have one more person to gnaw on before getting bored. Margaret! That is a horrid thing to say about Catherine. It is true, though, isn't it? It's been long enough. I will always miss her, but she picked people up and put them down at her leisure. Flora was devastated when Catherine did it to her. It made me so angry. I confronted Catherine about it, in fact. It was our one and only real fight, and it damaged our friendship, I think. I felt awful. Anyway, by the time the second or third of their silly little escape schemes failed, Catherine's attention was elsewhere. And Flora, well, I am certain she realized that her dashing older friend was never going to look at her the way she wanted her to. So it is no wonder Flora wanted to leave. No matter how old we all grew, I didn't think any of us would have ever let her into the real Linbarrow.
Yeah, that's gotta be... That's... Because when you grow up with someone and see them at that age, right? Even at, like, then it's like, you can't see them in another light. It's just doesn't work that way.
Nor should any of you. I'm relieved the story stopped short of sordid.
I agree, but goodness, I do feel for poor Flora.
That is a... Have we seen that Adela sprite before with the
I don't know.
very dilated pupils?
She must have been so thrilled when some people her age showed up. You would think. I do wonder if it really could be that simple. To be honest, I doubt it. We're in our own private circle of hell, and we may as well lick each other's wounds.
I wonder if, like, despite them still getting along, like, Bridget and Violet are still going to be Bridget and Violet, and Flora's only ever going to be the third, right?
Yep. But nobody else should live like us. Can anybody else live like us? I understand if the younger sisters we are responsible for began living just like us.
It would still be wrong.
And I think I might feel just as responsible. So in a sense, I do hope that Flora can find a way out of here.
Do you think this was another escape attempt?
No. Well, perhaps. It just reminds me of those times, and it makes me wonder. Would they cross paths in heaven? Perhaps they both escaped. They were both miserable here.
That's one way of looking at escape.
Flora is miserable. Let us remain in the present tense until we know otherwise. Right. Of course.
When Catherine grew bored of drawing up Flora's escape, what did she move on to?
I hope that was not when she and I were heavily into dueling. I had no idea that Flora felt discarded. It would explain why she became so moody. It was around the time of the dueling, yeah. But that is not your fault. Oh? How do you know? There was something else going on as well.
Was Margaret alluding to the murder plot?
Right, because despite everything, that murder plot did exist, right? No matter how far-fetched it might have been and whether or not it actually came to fruition, there was... Catherine and her inner circle did indeed have a murder plot, right? That's kind of wild.
I desperately wanted to ask her, but I dared not. Adela was here as well, and this conversation was already so dark I could scarcely bring myself to make it darker.
I'm hungry. Want to pick something out of the pantry?
God, yes! We collected some meager snacks from the pantry and sat in the cellars for a while. Our moods improved somewhat over the course of the next few hours. We chatted idly about frivolous things. For a while I forgot just how doomed I felt. This was pleasant. I lacked the raw thrills of the night before, but was nonetheless lulled into a sense of comfort. This was not so bad. If Flora and Bridget and Violet returned safely, would it really be so difficult to live this way? Perhaps Charity could call one of her meetings and we could all agree that now is the time to put our sinful excuses behind us. So what if the Bible didn't explicitly call what we did homosexual or evil? Aquinas did. Hildegard did. There's pleasure enough in company like this, surely.
Too late for that now, I'm afraid. Imagine how empty you would feel never touching someone again.
The conversation faded into the background, and I stared into the darkness to argue silently with myself. Evil, it would seem, had won. I could fool myself no longer. I knew there was no repairing a soul like mine. Maybe it was for the best that Flora and her friends were gone. Missing or dead, it did not matter. They had escaped this place untainted. They would not have to do spiritual battle with their darker halves after getting a taste of what Linbarrow had to offer. Death might even be preferable.
Aha, there you are. Oh, hello. Any luck? No, I'm sorry to say, although there might be a small hope. Oh?
We found the wheelbarrow.
On its own. Indeed. A rather grim discovery.
But better than finding a full wheelbarrow, right?
That's right.
Huh. Hopefully they're still out there then. We can only hope. We shouted and shouted, of course, but there was no response. How are the others doing?
Charity and Mara are taking a well-deserved nap. Moira is,
I'm coming.
Not now, Moira!
There she is.
Did Catherine and Eustace already share the news? Yes. Not the best outcome, but not the worst. I presume we will be sending out another shift. I hate to sound cruel, but is there a reason to? Perhaps they are just gone. We called out to them as loudly as we could and heard nothing back. If they're alive, maybe they don't want to be found. That is cruel, Catherine. They could be huddled somewhere in the cold, too weak to move or speak. And even if they are dead, we would owe them a proper burial. Agreed, we cannot give up on them. Never mind. I understood what you meant, Catherine.
Should I come on this next shift? I wasn't roused for this one.
No, Hedwig, that's quite all right. We let you sleep because we decided you should be given time to write about the situation. I just realized. Moira, did you search for 2 straight shifts? Yes, I couldn't sleep.
You want to give me time to write? I haven't been writing in my chronicles for...
The entire fucking time.
Right? The chronicles don't exist.
My goodness, you poor thing. You need some rest. You might be right.
So I should be chronicling these events?
Naturally.
This is an important moment.
I couldn't shake the feeling that this was a way of being shunned, but this was not the time to argue. Well, then I shall do my best to record everyone's heroism.
I'm off to get some sleep. Wake me as soon as you have good news to share, aye?
It isn't half cold down here. Why are you all here when the Misericorde is a perfectly good fireplace?
God, good question. Shall we take this upstairs before we head back out to search?
That is a great question. Why were we down here? Is it to be closer to the snacks?
I have no objections. I'll be right behind you. I just want to ask Hedwig something. Suit yourself.
Suit yourself. Try a knife. I hear it works wonders on her. The others left, and Catherine waited until they were out of sight to pull me between the rows of barrels.
Are you quite sure you convinced the Superior of Eustace's guilt?
Wow, 2 eyeballs. As best as I could, yes.
You are certain?
Yes! I can make no guarantees, but I fought hard for you.
I know. I apologize. God, it's just so horrible. This must be how Damocles felt.
I nodded, unsure if I was meant to understand this reference.
Sorry.
Weirdly enough, that's one of the few ones that I think survived.
Another one of Catherine II's favorites. A rather grim story, I must admit, but she loved using it as a metaphor. The Greeks were a rather miserable bunch, weren't they? There was some story she loved quoting to me about some mad woman who killed her children.
Is that the one that she was,
Yep, that was indeed Medea.
Medea?
Medea? Oh, I remember her. Wasn't she in Fate?
She was in Fate, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, just making sure.
That's the one she always brought. Also, spoilers.
Fuck you. If you think that's a spoiler for Fate, that's the identity of one of them is not a spoiler.
It's secrets throughout. It
Yeah,
comes up
yeah,
in the story.
She
Oh
always.
no, an ancient persona was summoned to fight a battle in the modern day. Ooh.
She always brought it up to cheer me up when I was feeling glum about, you know, that thing I did.
She knew about that?
Yes?
You felt glum about it?
She was the only other person I admitted it to. So I hope you can understand, Hedwig, how much trust I am imparting to you. Not to speak ill of the dead, but her passing reduced the number of people who knew the truth to 0. Now it's 1 again. I chose a good person to tell, didn't I?
You can trust me.
I am glad. So, do you think there's any value in, I don't know, refreshing Soup's memory? I am rather anxious, that's all.
You
don't have to if you don't think it'd be valuable. I don't know what sort of conversation you had. For all I know, that balance could be so delicate that pushing things might irritate her.
That was more or less my impression, I'm afraid. I think you most exhaustively and presented all the evidence I could find, as well as some of my less concrete suspicions. I really did my best, Sister Catherine. And you seem really invested in me making sure that Eustace takes the blame for this.
Good.
Which, again, is both understandable in her position as she's explained it, right?
And sus.
And also sus. Those can both be true.
Good. I just cannot stand the waiting.
I know. Must be horrible. Her face suddenly fell. Superior emerged from the darkness in front of me, and I could sense someone behind me as well.
Sister Catherine, I'm glad I found you. I must speak with you in my office, immediately. Superior? As I said, immediately. I'd prefer not to drag this out.
Your Reverence, what?
Be quiet, Hedwig. But
Angela hates us now and decided to go to the Superior and... All Angela had to say was like, Hedwig's given up and she's fallen prey to them. Don't listen to her anymore. She's completely...
Yep.
Oh, Angela. And now Angela knows that she can push the soup to get rid of Catherine. And because Angela was called out for being possessive and weird, now she's like, well, I guess I'll stop trying to reform. Might as well just say screw Catherine.
Yeah?
I can't get back at Adela, but I sure can get back at Catherine, right?
Oof. You may speak when we are in my office.
Superior turned around and began to march back into the darkness. Catherine looked at me pleadingly, but I had no idea what to say.
Goodbye, Catherine.
Never had I seen her look so defeated. There was nobody to retort, no biting comment to be made. She slunk away after the Superior. I only hoped my arguments would hold or that the bishop would protest. Wish I could have done more, but it was now in God's hands. What did you do?
What should have been done a long time ago.
You cannot believe that. We don't know Catherine is involved. In fact, she has a good alibi.
She is a killer, Hedwig. Catherine is a murderer, and it is high time that she answered for her crime.
But what about Eustace? What about the shelves?
Playing pretend was an amusing exercise, but it is time to set aside childish things. You yourself admitted you had scarce in the way of real evidence against Eustace.
What interesting timing. Are you going to have a Dale apprehended as well?
You would dare imply that I am going after Catherine because of some grudge? How is your obsession with Eustace's behavior any different?
Because Eustace's suspicious behavior is actually related to Catherine's death. You just don't like Catherine with a K.
I don't like killers. I don't like liars. And I certainly don't like whores.
So, in Angela's mind then, this is justified because Catherine may not have killed James, but she did kill someone.
Yep.
And therefore, this punishment is justified.
Well, you've likely set Catherine to the gallows. Might add up all three of those things. Will you be able to live with yourself?
Comfortably. Linbarrow is rotting, Hedwig. And both Catherine and Catherine were limbs that were better off being pruned.
Don't you dare.
And if Eustace must be pruned too, then we can assess...
You are mad! If you think I will ever want anything to do with you again!
We'll both be here for a very long time, Hedwig.
Not long enough for me to forgive this.
It may take some time, but God rewards the patient. With Catherine gone, Linbarrow will be rid of an incorrigible murderer. And we can be rid of Eustace next when we have stronger evidence.
Isn't the whole point that, like, wait, just like instated, like, isn't the whole point of it partly sending people to a nunnery that they have the chance to reform? Is that part of it? Even
Can be.
It can be? Because isn't that...
When I saw you spinning around, naked and free, desperate for attention, it was like looking into a mirror. I sought to guide you, but you were uncontrollable. One day, however, you might see that I made a good choice. I see so much of myself in you.
Angela thinks we're her project?
Once upon a time, I felt similarly spurned and betrayed by somebody I looked up to.
You know who else thought of us as a project?
Yep. Somebody I loved. But then I
lunged for her throat and pushed her against the nearest wall. She was too tall for me to properly threaten, but she looked furious all the same. I never loved you. She pulled herself free and straightened her robe.
I think you need some rest.
What I needed was to beat her head against the wall until there was nothing but neck left. At least that's how I felt at the time. Instead, I turned away wordlessly. I ran to my dorm and slammed the door shut. I wanted to scream. I wanted to die. I fell into bed and bawled until my energy was spent, and darkness finally came. Mercifully, I did not dream.
And I think we have to stop recording this sode there.
Yeah.
God, it feels like we're definitely... We have to be close.
We gotta be.
We gotta be close. We'll see you all next time for... Whoo boy!
Peace.
More of this.
Smash that like, comment and subscribe.